People are teaching how to live, but nobody is teaching how to die. Arjuna, well, all these questions are there. But the main question is at the time of death, what is going to happen? Spirituality is living every moment.
You have defined spirituality today.
People on higher planets such as Brahmalok, Chandralok, Indralok also have to come to this earth.
Hi, welcome to KC Talks. In the series of podcasts on Bhagavad Gita that we are doing with Dr. Keshavananda Swami, now we are entering into the 8th chapter named Akshara Parabrahma Yoga. So let us understand what does Akshara and Parabrahma and Yoga means. Hare Krishna Swamiji. Akshara, Parabrahma. Now all this while all the words are simple. So this looks very
This name looks very intimidating. No? Akshar, Parabrahma, Yoga.
very little tough also to understand and interpret it.
But this is, I mean to say, it's right there from Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter. Right there. It's in the words. Krishna uses this. Akshara, Brahma, Paramam.
Okay. Oh, it starts with Akshara Parabrahma.
Yeah. This is third verse.
Okay.
Where Krishna starts speaking. So what's the meaning of this chapter is, Akshara means indestructible. Shara means which get destroyed. Akshara means it doesn't get destroyed. And Param means supreme. And Brahma means God. In Upanishadic language, we call God as Brahma. Why? Because Brahma means Brahmyate iti Brahma, who keeps on expanding. Now you might ask, like a balloon, he keeps on expanding? No. His qualities, his pastimes keeps on expanding. He keeps on doing so many pastimes and qualities, millions of qualities, infinite qualities. Then next time it becomes infinite square, that way. So his pastime, his qualities, his beauty keeps on expanding. His knowledge keeps on expanding. That is why he's called as Brahma.
Then why is it called Parabrahma?
Parabrahma because there are other Brahmaji, Shivji. They're also very great souls. They're also knowledge keeps on expanding. But he is a supreme Brahma. Nobody matches with him. He's Advai. Other great souls, great yogis, they can also expand their knowledge, and powers, but they can't match with God. That's why it's called Param Brahma.
Oh,
like that.
And what is Akshara? How do we define now? Like you, in a nutshell, what is Akshara Parabrahma Yoga?
In a nutshell, here, third verse, and Akshara Param Brahma means, Srila Prabhupada translates, that the indestructible, transcendental, supreme being is God. That is Akshara Param Brahma Yoga. By transcendental means who transcends everybody else. So another point is why Krishna is called Param Brahma, because in Upanishads Brahma is also, soul is also called Brahma.
Brahman, right?
Brahman, yeah.
Yeah.
Soul is also called Brahman. Because even we, as a living entity, our knowledge also keeps on expanding, isn't it? We keep on learning things. Our qualities keeps on expanding, whether good or bad. Whatever, bad people become more bad, good people become more good.
Makes sense.
But God is Param Brahma. He's supreme. We can't match with him. That is why Aksharam, and we get destroyed. Shara, he doesn't get destroyed. So Akshara. That is why Akshara Param Brahma.
Akshara means one who gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And Akshara is somebody who doesn't get
destroyed.
One who can't be destroyed.
Who cannot be destroyed.
So here Akshara means Lord.
Yeah.
Is Parabrahma.
Yeah.
Already Akshara means Lord, then why Parabrahma again?
No, Akshara means who cannot be destroyed.
Okay.
Para means who is beyond everybody else.
Okay.
Is supreme.
So
Brahma,
beyond everybody's perception.
Beyond everybody's capabilities.
Capability. Okay.
And skills. And Brahma means whose qualities it keeps on expanding. So this is complete description of God. If anybody asks you who is God, define him, you should use these three words.
Oh, Akshara Parabrahma.
Yeah. And then he'll become flat, Swamiji. You can impress people by saying these words.
Oh,
But that's the meaning.
okay. So, what does this chapter teach us, and
This
what is
chapter
the
is very
takeaway from
interesting.
this?
8th chapter has 8 questions.
Hmm.
Arjuna asks 8 questions at the end of 7th chapter.
Okay.
Krishna is answering 8 questions.
Okay.
And the 8th question is the most important.
Hmm.
Now the 8 questions are, Arjuna asks, who is God? Kim tad brahma, kim adhyatma,
Hmm.
kim karma purushottama,
Hmm.
adi bhutam cha kim,
Hmm.
adi daivam,
Hmm.
kim uchyate. 5, 6 adi yagye, katham ko atra dehosmin, and then dehosmin madhusudana, and ko atra dehosmin madhusudana, who is their 7th,
Hmm.
and 8th is prayana kale cha katham. At the time of death,
Hmm.
what do we do? So anyway, we can read first and second verse.
Hmm.
But the point is, we don't need to remember all these things, those
Okay.
questions.
Hmm.
Most important thing is the 8th question. At the time of death,
Hmm.
how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Okay.
Now, 7th chapter was talking about devotional service, love of God, isn't it?
Yes.
And devotees.
Hmm.
So naturally, Arjuna asked Krishna, devotees will spend their entire life loving you, serving you selflessly. The time of death is very difficult to remember.
Hmm.
Mind is bonkers. Body is out of control.
Hmm.
At that time, how can they remember you? That's my question. Very good question, isn't it?
Yes, very intelligent question.
And that question Krishna answers in the 8th chapter. Rest of the 7 questions, he just answers like this, one line.
Okay.
Now, this, I'll come to that point. This indicates very important thing.
Hmm.
Other questions are, who is God? Isn't it? What is spirituality? What is karma? All these questions are there. What is this body? Okay. Krishna answers one line, and then he comes, Arjuna, well, all these questions are there. But the main question is, at the time of death, what is going to happen? Even if you understand all these questions, and at the time of death you can't remember me, it's waste.
Hmm.
So that is why this chapter's name is, Prabhupada translates in English, Attaining the Supreme.
Hmm.
7th chapter, we knew about God. We start loving Him. The whole aim of understanding Him and loving Him is to attain Him.
Yes.
So that is why it is said, life is preparation, death is examination.
Oh, well said. Life is preparation,
Death is examination.
examination.
So if in a class, a student prepares whole year, but he fails in exam, what's the use?
Hmm.
That is why Krishna takes the 8th question
Okay.
about death. What happens at the time of death? And even in the modern society, people are teaching how to live,
Hmm.
but nobody is teaching how to die.
Like art of living,
Yeah,
there has to be something called art of dying.
Gita is art of dying.
Gita is art of dying, is it?
Yeah, it's art of dying.
Okay.
This chapter is art of dying.
Hmm.
So that is a beautiful take from these first few verses.
Hmm.
Now, one point I want to emphasize here is, Krishna defines spirituality here.
Hmm.
In those first 7 questions. Second question was, what is spirituality? Kim adhyatma uchyate. Adhyat means spirituality.
Yes.
Krishna answers are very beautiful. These answers are very one line, but very to the point, very beautiful and universal answers.
Okay.
Krishna says, Swabhava adhyatma uchyate.
Swabhava?
Adhyatma uchyate.
What does it mean, Swamiji?
That means, what is spirituality? Spirituality is changing one's nature.
Hmm.
Any religion, any spiritual practice, if it doesn't change your nature, it's waste. It is not spirituality.
Oh.
It's a beautiful definition. Such a universal definition, see.
Yes.
He's not saying spirituality is this sect, this sect, this sect. He says, okay, you follow. But if it doesn't change your nature, it's bogus. And that's how we can judge. There's so many spiritual gurus, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
This technique, that technique, that technique, that technique.
Hmm.
But how do we know that it's genuine? The person's nature is changing, then it's genuine.
Hmm.
If that's not changing, it's useless. So it's a beautiful understanding of spirituality.
You have defined spirituality today.
Yeah.
Because spirituality is that you change your nature.
Yeah.
And if somebody feels that nature is good and there is no need to change it or correct it,
Well, there is no end to sky.
okay,
If he's a good man, he can become much better than before.
okay,
People who think there's an end to goodness,
hmm.
they have no idea what is goodness.
Hmm.
Isn't it? You can practice whole life being truthful,
Okay,
and you can go much deeper and deeper and deeper in that concept of truth
hmm.
and apply in your life.
Hmm.
So that's why Krishna says, change yourself, change yourself. That's why, we were talking, see, this whole material world is a laboratory.
Yes, it's a lab,
We
yeah.
were discussing the other day.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's a lab. In the lab, this lab is made for us, for every individual soul, to learn from this big lab and change yourself. That is spirituality. Spirituality is not just sitting and om. No, it will come in this chapter.
Hmm.
Spirituality is living every moment
Hmm.
and trying to change yourself according to what Krishna says.
Living every moment
Yeah, that
and
is
trying to
spirituality.
change.
That is spirituality.
Oh, very new definition.
Yeah, that is why I told life is a preparation,
Hmm.
and this material world helps us to prepare.
Hmm.
That's how spiritual people look.
Oh.
So this is a beautiful definition. Now, having said this, uh, Krishna comes directly to the point at the end of death. What happens?
Hmm.
So Krishna says here, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Anybody at that time of death who remembers me,
Hmm.
he comes back to me.
Hmm.
Simple.
Okay.
But that's not so simple, because for that you have to practice whole life. Otherwise, you see, one saint was there, he was like since 40 years he was practicing some kind of spiritual thing. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a like my first hand experience.
Okay.
So he had drowned in a lake,
Hmm.
but he was saved. And then people asked, what you were thinking, naturally. So he was saying, I was just thinking of Coca-Cola. He couldn't think of God,
But
nothing.
why Coca-Cola of all?
He said, my mind was out of control. It's like, I'll give you example. It's like, suppose entire day you are chanting or whatever you are doing.
Hmm.
But when you sleep, you don't have control on your dreams.
No, I don't have.
Anything will come.
Yes.
That is death.
Oh.
You can do a whole life something, but at the time of death, your mind will think whatever you are attached to the most.
Wonderful analogy.
That's the point.
Like you may go to temple, you may go to a big dham, but then when you sleep, nothing is in your control.
Yeah.
You can think the most nonsense thing.
Yeah.
Sleeping in a dham.
Yeah. So that's death.
Hmm.
So Krishna says, but if you practice very sincerely, and if that practice can make subconscious impressions on your mind, then at the time of death, mind will automatically think of that.
But we all think, at least the genuine spiritualists think that they are practicing with sincerity. So-
People think like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's why Krishna says here, next verse. See your questions, Krishna is answering.
Yes.
Sixth verse he answers, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tachintente kalevaram. Now note this word, smaran bhavam.
Hmm.
He uses two words, smaran bhavam.
Okay.
He says, okay, you're remembering me your entire life, but that remembrance, if it is not changing your feelings, bhavam, you will not be able to remember me at the time of death.
How is that practically possible?
Now, practically why it's not possible. I mean to say, if you're remembering God,
Okay.
7th chapter is attachment, feelings.
Yes.
If your feelings are not connected to God,
Hmm.
that means when you're thinking about Him, when you're chanting about His names, just as a lover feels for the beloved, it's not a blank remembrance, no?
Yeah, it's not. There is definitely some impression of,
Yeah.
you know.
So those feelings have to be involved in that.
Hmm.
If those are involved, then there are chance of thinking at the time of death. Otherwise, it's not. It's just like you see many devotees also, like connected to us, they chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hmm.
Now you can chant. For some people, chanting is Hare Krishna, but they don't remember anything. It's blank. It's just sound.
Okay.
They're just hearing, no remembrance.
But you said in the initial chapter about practice in spirituality that when we chant, we just have to hear the chanting, and that's what is mantra
That's
meditation.
first step.
Okay.
Automatically, when we advance, remembrance will come. I told when you keep on hearing about God,
Hmm.
then automatically remembrance will come. You don't have to force.
Okay.
Just like if you chant Aishwarya Rai, you will think of her, isn't it?
Hmm.
We know her. You can just try Aishwarya Rai. She'll be there,
Yes.
So, but we don't know Krishna, so we can't remember him continuously.
Hmm.
The 7th chapter, Krishna says, I am this, I am this. That's why he's informing about himself. When we know him in association of devotees, we know his qualities and his beauty. Automatically, when we chant, spontaneous remembrance will come.
Hmm.
And then, with that remembrance, feelings will be connected.
Hmm.
And then there's a chance that at time of death we can remember him.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
Like you said a point that, real spirituality is changing one's
Nature.
So, can I correlate like this that if a person's nature is changing gradually, then there are good number of chances that he might remember Lord at the time of death?
Changing nature is a side effect
Okay.
of remembering the Lord.
Hmm.
That's a side effect. But if
Side effect of spiritual progress, you are
of
telling.
progress, yeah. So we can gauge if a person nature is changing.
Hmm.
Definitely we can see that,
Hmm.
and then we can presume
Hmm.
that in his mind he's remembering the Lord
Hmm.
with feelings, because nobody can become good
Hmm.
if he's not connected to God.
Hmm.
God and good,
Hmm.
they are connected.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
Hmm. So, my mundane question: we do anything if there is a probability of success.
Yeah,
Logic, right?
yeah.
I go into a business where I think, okay, so I've gained all the knowledge of the business and I'm investing some money. So I will have I'll have a confidence that, okay, I can do this,
Yeah.
in a right way,
Yeah.
and the
I'll
effort will
succeed.
pay me some good result.
I'll succeed, yeah.
But then in your case, no matter if I take up spirituality seriously, remembering God at the time of death is a probability of, success and failure.
No, it's not like that. Your question is answered by Krishna. I'll answer you
Okay.
in his words.
Hmm.
Krishna says here in the 23rd verse,
Hmm.
14th verse he says, 14th verse.
Hmm.
Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarti nityasha
Okay.
tasyam sulabha partha nityuktasya yogina.
What does it mean?
He says, for one who always remembers me without deviation,
Hmm.
I am easy to obtain. That's the question. The chance of success is there.
Hmm.
Why? Because Krishna says, Tasya aham sulabha partha. I will make him successful.
I'm easy to attain.
That means I will make him successful. Although remembering at the time of death is difficult,
Hmm.
but if he's sincere,
Hmm.
I will make sure he will remember me.
Mm-hmm. He's giving that.
He is giving that guarantee? He's giving that guarantee.
At least a good motivation that, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll.
So that's also mercy, no? Like you said in the last
Yeah.
chapter.
It's mercy.
So getting love of God or remembering Him during the death is all its mercy.
Yeah.
So we're technically living at the mercy of Lord.
Yeah. But at the same time, he is adding Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha.
Hmm.
Nityashaha. When you add in Sanskrit shaha,
Hmm.
that means efforts.
Efforts.
You have to provide efforts.
Hmm.
My mercy is there. I'll do what I'll do. You do what you are required to do. Then things will match. Teacher and student.
Okay.
Teacher is very merciful. She says, I'll pass. But if the student has to work hard,
Hmm.
if he doesn't work hard, then teacher might not favor. She will say, well, why should I favor you?
Yeah. Makes sense. So you have to have an effort,
Yeah.
a sincere effort. And you have also told one understanding, if somebody is progressing spiritually, at least his nature will change.
Yeah. That is the symptom of progress. Don't judge people that people are doing meditation, spirituality, they are progressing. People judge he's progressing because he can sit for 5 hours
Okay.
and he forgets his body and he doesn't move. People think like that, no?
Yeah.
People think
Because
like
we
that.
can't sit for 5 hours, and if he's sitting for 5 hours,
and he's
we
progressing.
yeah.
Or maybe people think people are progressing spirituality when they become successful in their material mundane world, and he's getting some power from
Yeah. Siddhis.
the power connection from higher. So things are people have various ideas, but or maybe people think he's advancing because there are tears in his eyes. Some people.
Yeah. He's showing his
Yeah.
his love and
Yeah, you see
affection.
South India people, they shake also when they see God. People think, oh my God, he's such an advanced person. They become unconscious. You've seen many people become unconscious. People think he's so advanced. Those are not Krishna never talks about all this is in Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Krishna tells if you're connected to God, you will become good.
Good. This is, this is nice. Okay. Okay. So what else? What are the other things
that's the thing. In 13th verse, Krishna is talking about Om iti ek aksharam brahma. Some people meditate on Om. After being situated in yoga practice, vibrating syllable Om, if one thinks of me, quits his body, he will certainly reach spiritual planets.
He'll certainly reach spiritual planets.
He will go to.
But he's not telling certainly reach me.
That's
why is it so?
You got that point, yeah. Sayati paramam gatim. Why? Because the next verse is saying, well, anybody remembers me, forget for chanting Om. That is there, you can chant and you can attain moksha.
This is all crystal clear, no?
Yeah, it's crystal clear. I'm easy to obtain if you remember me. So Krishna says, well, you remember me. Don't. Chanting Om is there, but it's difficult in this age. And nevertheless, you will not even attain me. You will just get free of birth and death.
I don't understand one thing. It is going through my head all through this podcast of Bhagavad Gita. If things are so simple, then why did we not understand this this while? That's my question.
Because simple things are understood by simple people.
So you mean to say that we are all complex people?
People are complex in this age.
No, but here,
I'll tell you. I told you.
Chanting Om, you will not reach me. For sure, he's telling that you will go to spiritual planets.
Paramam gatam, just. But if you remember me, you will reach me.
It's very straightforward.
Tasya aham. You see, I'll tell you why. I told you, no. It's a problem of Sanskrit scholars.
Okay.
They have interpreted Gita in a very, let's say, twisted way. There are 700 editions of Bhagavad Gita. Commentaries, yeah. And very many, everybody has their own take.
Okay.
And you can do that through Sanskrit.
Okay.
You can twist Sanskrit. But there is one point where if you want to take as it is, the meanings, that's very clear. Okay. That's a Prabhupada main Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. But what others do, they twist. They twist the meaning. They interpret. And that is not allowed in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, interpretation is allowed if the meaning is not clear. Just like I'll give you example. Like for example, if I say, my son is a tiger. Here interpretation is required. My son is a tiger.
Like a tiger.
So you have to say he is powerful like a tiger. Here interpretation is required. But if I say my son is educated, why do you want to interpret? It's clear. So that's the whole point there. So when the things are clear, interpretation is a fault in Sanskrit. Dosha. But many commentators interpret and screw the meaning and twist it. So that is why people are confused.
So what is Akshara Parabrahma?
By the way, another thing, just sorry to interrupt. You know why things are not clear? Because people don't read Bhagavad Gita.
People don't read
They just hear from YouTube this and that and that and that. Every Tom, Dick, Harry, everybody speaking their own things, and they believe. That's the whole problem.
Without understanding ABCD of Bhagavad Gita, they start speaking about it. Because they speak what they want through Bhagavad Gita.
Well, that's the whole point. They use Bhagavad Gita to speak their own philosophy. And then they cherry pick the verses and quote them and propose their philosophy. Who has a time to read, and then they don't understand anything.
Yes. So, as you said about Bhagavad Gita as it is, so what is Akshara Parabrahma or quoted by Prabhupada in this? What does he say about this?
Was
This
that?
adhyaya?
This name of this adhyaya?
Yes.
Attaining the Supreme.
Okay. So,
It's it's interesting. The name in Sanskrit is Akshara Parabrahma. That defines God. But Srila Prabhupada has done a very good justice to name this chapter Attaining the Supreme, because what's the use of knowing God if you don't attain Him?
maybe he has done it because Krishna speaks that, you remember me and you will attain.
That's why. That's the whole point. Krishna is also emphasizing this fact. If you know me, if you don't attain me, what's the use? What's the point? I know that is pastry, but if I don't attain it and eat it, what's the point? I'll become more frustrated.
No, there's no point knowing.
Then better, don't know.
Yes.
So it's a very beautiful justice to. It is called as Bhavavachaka.
Okay.
A literal translation of Akshar Param Brahma Yoga is the indestructible, transcendental, supreme person. That should be the name. But all our Gaudiya Vaishnavacharya is named as Attaining the Supreme, including Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And that is Bhavavachak meaning. There is something called as literal, both are literal. But Bhavavachak meanings, you take the essence of that and write it. So this is the essence. If you know God, you should attain Him. Attaining the Supreme. It is allowed in Sanskrit. Bhavavachak.
And did we miss anything else in this chapter?
Yeah, this is we missed. Krishna also says that it's some people try to attain God through various other practices. Dhyan yoga, all this Ashtanga yoga.
Yes.
He speaks in this 8th chapter, Ashtanga yoga and all these things. Krishna says that's not a wise philosophy thing. In Kali Yuga, you can't do that.
Why?
Chakras and Kundali and this and Ingla, Pida, Pingla and all these things. Krishna says, in 6th chapter already Arjuna says, Krishna says this is not possible because this is impractical method. We discussed in
sixth chapter, Arjuna says that yes, though all this process is there, but it is very hard for me to follow this.
Here Krishna himself says, no, don't do it.
So which loka?
This is 15th verse. 15th verse. Mamavitya punarjanma dukhalema shashvatam napnubanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gatim. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. And then Krishna says here, from highest planet material world down to lowest, all places are places of misery wherein repeated death and birth take place. Now this is important. Brahma bhavana loka. From highest to lowest planet, there is a miseries. It's temporary. Now you see, in higher planets, there are great yogis and tapasvis who are practicing Ashtanga yoga, Dhyana yoga, Tapalok.
Tapolok, yes.
If you read descriptions, there are tapasvis. But Krishna says, no, that is also place of misery. They'll not be able to attain me. So that's why he says.
Can we go through this again?
From highest planet in material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. Even in Tapalok, repeated birth and death take place.
So your interpretation is, in Tapolok, people should be doing some great tapa?
They do. No, not some. There are descriptions.
Okay.
They are all chanting Om and they are all in Samadhi.
Samadhi
Ashtanga
state?
yoga. Yeah, Samadhi state.
They're all in Samadhi?
Yeah. They're all descriptions. They have caves and they are sitting there. They're all in trance.
Okay.
Sanatana Goswami, our Gaudiya Vaishnavacharya, explains in Brihad Bhagavatamrita.
Okay.
But even there is birth and death, you see. So, now Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas explain like that. People on higher planets such as Brahmalok, Chandralok, Indralok also have to come to this earth.
Okay.
So, this is all Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding.
Okay.
So, that's how it goes. This is how Krishna says here, he explains. And then Krishna explains, 22nd verse is very nice. He gives assurance. You were telling it's difficult to attain Krishna?
Yes.
At the time of death, what will happen? Arjuna is confused. Krishna is repeatedly giving assurance to his devotees. He's consoling them. See, a beautiful verse. Purusha sapara partha bhaktya labhyastvananya yasyanta sthani bhutani yena sarvam itam tatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, me, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. I am attainable. Although I am present in my abode, I am all pervading, everything is situated within me. Krishna says. Krishna says, I am attainable by devotion. He is giving hope. In this chapter, Krishna is giving hope to his devotees. That's the essence.
Okay.
Arjuna is losing hope in 7th chapter. He knows that even though if we spend our lives loving him sincerely, the time of death, everything is out of our control. In dreams, it's out of control. Even you have fever, people forget chanting. It's out of control, no?
Yes.
So Arjuna lost hope. Krishna, 8th chapter, giving hope. That is the essence of this chapter. I am there. Don't worry. If you take one step, I'll take 10 steps. It is said in one of the saint, he sang in his song, he said, if you take one step, he'll take 10 steps.
Yes.
If you walk towards him, he'll walk towards you. If you run towards him, he will run towards you. And if you want him now, that much desire you have, he's right there in your heart. He's giving hope. You serve me, I will reciprocate with you as it is. Don't worry about that.
Fantastic.
I'll not leave you. You might leave me, I'll not leave you. That is
the hope he is establishing in the hearts of every sadhaka.
Yeah, that is why this chapter is so important. This is so important. Otherwise, we know it's a hopeless project. At the time of death, it's so difficult. So don't worry, I am there. That is why all acharyas, they focus so much on this chapter. If you read this chapter, you will not find this concept of hope. You have to really understand it from Gaudiya Vaishnava vision, then we will be able to see this.
It's a decoding chapter. Hope is the decoding of this chapter.
And then Krishna says, yogis do meditation and they like to leave their body on different times. Like Vishwatama was waiting for Uttarayan. So they do that. But Krishna says, don't worry about that.
Does he say that?
Yeah, he says. He says here, although devotees know these two paths, 27th verse. Although devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they're never bewildered. That means they're not interested in this. Therefore, always be fixed in devotion. Now, again, there is a law. If you live in Uttarayan, you get moksha. If you live in Dakshinayan, you don't get moksha. You go down. Krishna says here. But again, he's giving hope. I am there. I am the lawmaker. I can even break laws. I can make and I can break. For my devotees, I do. And that hope is born of love. 7th chapter is love. You see, love produces hope, isn't it? We love people and we look up to them with hope when we are in difficulties. So that hope is coming from love. So this chapter is all about love. 7th chapter is love. 8th chapter is hope, which is taking birth from love. That is chapter all about. And he finishes 28th chapter, 28th verse he finishes. And it's such a beautiful verse. Vedeshu ageshu tapasucho eva daneshu atpunne phalam pradishtam atteti tat sarvamidam viditva sthanam upaiti yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. He says, person who accepts a part of devotional service not benefit of results derived from studying Vedas, performing sacrifice, undergoing tapa, giving charity, understanding philosophy, or any other fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, the benefits of all these, and at the end he reaches supreme eternal abode. Such a beautiful verse. Our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have written a big commentary on this. And
that's where the chapter ends.
That's where the chapter ends.
Krishna by giving assurance.
Do not need to do anything else. Don't worry about that. Love me and I'll do everything for you.
So this chapter can be renamed as giving assurance and hope to the devotees.
Yeah. Definitely.
Fantastic, Swamiji. Very nice.
And this, you know what, this brings us one quality of Krishna, God. God, he has told, if you connect with God, you become good. And God means hope.
Okay.
In Vishnu Sahasranam, there is also a name of this. This is one of the name of God, Asha. Asha means hope. This is one of the names of God.
Yes.
So if you're connected with God, you will never lose hope. He will always give you assurance from within. through devotees. And this shows that he's so compassionate. That quality of God, it comes. He's always by your side. He will never leave you, even if you leave him. This is his quality.
Superb. Fantastic.
That is Krishna.
Karunya.
Yeah, Karunya, Saulabhya. All these qualities are coming in this chapter.
Wonderful. Inspirational, Swamiji.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for giving us hope that Lord has given us, He has promised us that if you are sincere in your approach, then I will help you out.
Yeah.
So, that's very good takeaway from this.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.